Hello and welcome to the world's fastest Kdenlive tutorial. Kdenlive is a nonlinear video editor, which pretty much just means that it is a tool for editing video projects or movie projects. It is open source and free, which I support, and I've recently began learning this software, and I would like my students to learn it also. So I'm going to record this tutorial, and I'm going to start by introducing the different parts of the screen. I have it downloaded and installed on my computer, and this is what you're looking at now. Here are the timelines. This is where we're going to be doing our editing by moving video and audio files that are going to be deposited here in our project bin. And we're going to move them over here and edit them. As we're editing them, we will see a preview of our edit over here where this black rectangle is. This is the project monitor. If you ever want to watch or listen to a clip that you are editing or about to edit, you can watch that over here on the clip monitor. And then if I move my face out of the way, on the right, you are going to have different tools that are going to depend on what you're doing at the time. When we add fade ins and fade outs, you're going to see some options we're going to adjust here under effect composition stack. So let me move my face back to the bottom right corner. To get started, I am going to add some clips here. But before I do that, I'm going to click on project settings, and we're going to make sure we're using a project that is appropriate for whatever we want our end result to be. Right now, I have it at a 1080p resolution video at 29.97 frames per second, which is basically 30 frames per second. You can also choose a solid 30 here, but I'm going to keep it like that because it plays very nicely with online video. And there's a lot of different settings you can play around with here. If you were editing or creating, say, a gaming footage video and your game is running at 60 FPS and you captured that gaming footage at 60 FPS, you definitely want to have 60 FPS here. But you can also do like 4K editing here. I've changed all of my resolution on my monitor and all my footage to be 1080p just for simplicity's sake. And so I'm just going to be editing a 1080p HD video at 29.97 frames per second. And what's nice about setting that here, and you can see a preview here of what your settings are, is if you import a video that doesn't work well with that resolution or frame rate, Kdenlive will give you an option for it to automatically change it to be the correct frame rate. Now, know that it will actually change the video on your computer, which is why I have placed all of the footage that I need for this project in its own folder. That way I know when it gets changed, it's changing these files right here. I urge you to do the same. And these two clips, this audio clip and this video clip, you can download these wherever I have posted this tutorial video, usually in a description. So I've put them in their own folder called Tutorial Project on my desktop, and that way I can go here and add them to my project bin. And I add it by right-clicking, and you can create folders or subfolders in this project bin just to organize your footage. Here I'm just going to click Add Clip or Folder, and over Tutorial Project, I could just click Tutorial Project and click OK, or I can expand it and add these individually. Either way works. So I will actually expand it, highlight both of them, and click OK. So now I have music. This is some music I've created, so it won't get any copyright strikes on YouTube or anywhere. And then this is just a random video of me exploring a place near my home that was in the process of burning down, and it's just me like panting. You can hear the audio of the video where I'm just like breathing heavy because I'm crawling up and down hills and stuff. And it's just some random video that we can use to edit. Let me make sure I have explained everything. Oh, yes. Two more things I need to explain. As you're editing here in the timeline, you can see what you're editing over here on the top right, and this is your project monitor. And as you edit your video or your movie together, you can watch your edit over here on the right. And here on the left is the clip monitor. So I can click this clip and watch this clip. Right? I can click this music and listen to this music. But you see nothing's happening in the project monitor because we actually haven't started editing anything. So First, I'm going to remove tracks that I don't need for this project. This is going to be a very, very simple project. Uh, so first, I'm going to drag my video into this video area, V1, and it's automatically going to get the video's audio and move it to an audio track. Right now they're connected. You can actually disconnect these if you'd like. But for me, I'm actually just going to mute the audio track to the video just by clicking the little speaker icon on audio 1. And I'm going to give this track a name, and I'm going to say, double click that area right there, and I'm going to say muted video audio. And then here, I'm going to give this track a name and be like, hiking footage. Now we need this other audio track for our music, and I'm going to click and drag our music to audio track 2 and move it all the way to the left. But we don't need the second video track, so I'm just going to, let's see if I remember how to delete it. Yeah, right click it and just click delete track. And there we go. Don't need it anymore, so I'm just working with the tracks that I actually need. So now you can see our project monitor is now showing something. So actually, I'm going to unmute the video's audio so you can hear the music and the video audio and watch the video. I'm just going to click to a random spot in the video where I actually see what's burning down. And I'm going to hit a space bar to start playing, or you can also click play over here. And then I see the sort of smoldering remains. Hit the space bar again. Again, you should, especially for video editing, you need to get comfortable with keyboard shortcuts because otherwise it's way slower. I'm not going to do all the keyboard shortcuts, but you should start learning them. And in software like this, it actually tells you exactly what the keyboard shortcut is when you hover over things. Or it did before. It showed space before I clicked space. Does it do it over here? Oh, no. But yeah, you can learn the shortcuts. You can Google them and start working with them. And sometimes it'll explain what the shortcuts are when you hover over them. So for instance, I hover over this, it shows me that the keyboard shortcut is the keyboard letter V, right? To insert clip zone in timeline. So we've added our projects to our clips to the project bin. I've added those to our timeline. And for the playback controls, really you just need to remember play and pause. You can also play it at faster speeds or even rewind at different speeds also. Now, it's important to note, I'm actually on a computer with a really healthy video graphics card, and so editing is very smooth. However, most computers aren't, and if you're editing on a less powerful computer, you definitely want to be sure to change the project monitor resolution to something lower. Like 1:1 means it's going to be the resolution of your footage. If I change it to that and play it, it's playing okay here. It could get choppy though if your computer can't handle it. And so, in fact, because this is so much smaller than 1080p, I just like to make it a much smaller resolution. Just by default, I set it to 540p. Same with your clip monitor, you can change the resolution. A keyboard shortcut you should also get familiar with now before we do any editing is the Alt key and then the left and right arrow keys on your keyboard. Now, what does this do? Well, I'm going to move things around. I'm going to move this video clip here, move this audio clip here. There are several key points of your edit that you're going to be working with more than others, and that's the beginning or the ending of any clip, and beginning or ending of any edit or transition or effect, or the beginning, middle, or end of your little, if you can see it here, this little bar, blue bar, and this is just your key points bar. If I go here, you can move it anywhere in your edit. So if you're really only working on one section of your edit, you can expand this or shrink it and move it around. And this is also going to be a place or establish 3 key points. And if you hit hold Alt and use the left and right key, it's going to jump to the key points. So if I'm right here at the end of the music, and if I hold Alt and hit left, it takes me to the end of that clip, which is a key point. Hit left again, it takes me to the end of this section right here. It's just a key points section. And then I hold Alt and hit left again, takes me to the beginning of that key section, and then left again takes me to the beginning of that clip, and left again takes me to the beginning of the audio track. So as you're editing and you want to jump to the beginnings or ends of things, hold down Alt key and get comfortable with your arrow keys jumping left and right, because hunting around with your cursor and trying to click your cursor at the exact right spot every time really slows you down. So we've set the playback resolution already, so let's get to actually learning some of the editing controls. So let's cut a clip. I'm going to first move my music all the way to the left, move my video clip all the way to the left, and I'm going to once again mute the audio associated with my video clip. I can also separate these and then delete this audio track if I wish, but you can learn how to do that on your own. Okay, to cut a video clip in half, you select the clip, and up here is, let's see, razor tool. It's a little symbol of scissors. Razor tool, or X is the shortcut to select that razor tool. If you click this, if you have the razor tool highlighted, right, by hitting the X key or just clicking on this, anywhere I click on this clip, it's going to cut it there and create areas that I can move around now and start editing. I'm going to hit Control Z a few times to undo that. But a keyboard shortcut, if your hand is on the keyboard, as it should be, right, one hand on the mouse, the other hand on the keyboard, is you can, while you're using the selection tool, you select a clip and you hold Shift R, and anywhere your cursor is placed, that's going to cut it. So I can go around here. I was like, I want to cut here, and I hit Shift R. Over here, Shift R, Shift R, Shift R. I'm just cutting all over the place, right? Now note, if I hold Alt and use the left and right arrow keys, you'll see that my cursor is now going to jump at different key points. And it's just a great way to jump through your edits and work on different things. So I'm going to hit Control Z a bunch to undo all of those cuts. So what we need is, in this video, the idea is I'm going to cut down this sort of long meandering walk, and I'm going to add a bunch of jump cuts, which is when a clip cuts into itself. And I'm going to make the video a lot shorter, showing that I'm walking. Mute this. Show that I'm walking. And it's going to show me where I'm walking, and then it's going to show what I'm seeing, which is the smoldering remains there. So to do that, I think, first off, this part of the video clip where I'm sort of approaching the path is completely unnecessary. So I'm going to select my cursor right there and hit Shift R. Or again, you can click the razor tool and click there. And now that I've cut there, I'm just going to get rid of this, but I'm just going to select it and then hit the delete key. You can also right click and delete the selected clip, but again, get comfortable with the keyboard shortcuts, just click it and hit the delete key. Now it's gone. Now I can move this back to the beginning of my project. My little helper guide here was making it so that it snapped to the end there, see, and it wasn't at the beginning. So this is very useful for also positioning your clips. You just got to be aware of it. Can I also adjust it here? Oh, I can also adjust it up here. Can I also move it? No, I can just adjust the sides of it. So I'm going to move this to the beginning of my project. So, all right, so now I have myself walking on this thing. I'm going to hit Shift R, cut that. And let's skip to right here and then delete this middle section and then drag things over. All right, and then I get here and I'm going to do another cut. And then here when I get in position to start walking, delete that. So now if we go to the beginning of my project, unmute the music. So it shows me walking on this path, right? And then it cuts to this sort of bunker area, and it's going to cut again now of me walking in. Then I'm sort of looking around. but you get the idea. You cut and move clips around, and that's the basic of editing. Um, but let's add some transitions or dissolves. So there's this point coming up. I'm going to delete another few sections here. Here, I'm going to delete this middle section. And here, I'm going to make it so that it's going to show me approaching here, and then I'm going to add a cut here. But before that, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. I'm going to hold Control, the Control key, and use the scroll wheel on my 3-button mouse to scroll in and out, to zoom in and out. Now, there's also manual zoom controls under where my face is, over here on the right. I can make the project appear bigger or smaller. But again, get used to keyboard shortcuts. I'm holding the Control or Command key, and I'm using the scroll wheel on my 3-button mouse to zoom in or zoom out. So there's this point here in the video. Okay, there's a cut and I'm moving up. And I'm going to have it dissolve. And when it dissolves, it's going to show, there we go, the remains. So I'm going to remove this. And what I want it to do is go from here and dissolve or fade into this over here. Now, to add a simple dissolve, just see the cut here. I'm going to zoom in a little. Here's the cut. And when you go over it, you see like a little red bar appear or a green bar appear, depending on which side of the cut you're look at. And you have a little arrow, right? If you double click that, it automatically creates a transition where this blue bar is where the cut was. And you can change the size of that dissolve by just clicking and dragging it like that. But it doesn't have to be even. Right now, the cut is in the middle of the dissolve. I can make it so it starts dissolving way over here. But let me show you what it looks like. And in fact, to show you what it looks like, I'm going to move my little guide, which is always very helpful. Move the guide over this area that I'm working so I can very quickly jump to it. So now I've positioned the guide so it starts before the dissolve and then ends after the dissolve. So I can just say click here and then use Alt arrow keys to jump around. Cool. Okay, so let's watch. Okay, already I can tell that dissolve is too fast. So I'm going to make the dissolve much, much bigger. And then Alt over here. There we go. Oh, I went to the beginning of the project. There we have a very simple dissolve. Now, say you have that dissolve and you're playing around with it, and it just doesn't. It's not working for you. You just want to go back to a straight cut. Very simple to do. But oh yeah, before I explain that, let me move my face so you can actually see some of the parameters. When you click a dissolve effect over here under Effect, it's called Effect Composition Stack. You can select the kind of transition it is. Right now it's a dissolve, but you can change this to a bunch of different mixing effects. Let's choose like the worst one. Clock. Yeah, so it looks very unprofessional. So we're going to go back to dissolve. And you can also change the speed, duration, the position, and there's other settings here that you can play around with. But let's just say that you added this dissolve and it's just not working for you. You don't like it anymore. Just click it, right? Hit the delete key and it's gone. Same with here, the audio, and it's just back to a straight cut. So if you add an effect, don't like it, you can just click and delete it to remove it. Another very important part of most video edits is a fade in from black or a fade out to black or a fade in or out to other colors. We're just going to use black because that's the most common type. For a very simple fade in, fade out effect, simply click a clip, select a clip, and then under effects over here, you have your project bin, just go over to effects and then search for fade in. fade. So under motion, there's a fade in, fade out, then volume, fade in, fade out. So that's for music. So we're going to do both. So for motion, we're going to select fade in and just drag it. Can I just double click it? Yeah, I can just double click it to add it. So now we see this green triangle that represents our fade. And if I move my face out of the way, you can see under the effects tab over here, there's some options we can change. So we can change the duration of the fade. We can also go over here, put our cursor over it, and we can manually change the duration of the fade if we want it long. So let's make it like a 3-second long fade in from black. I'm going to Alt tab all the way back and hit space. Now that's a linear fade in, which for the human eye, what ends up happening is that it appears to fade in very quickly and then sort of linger and never quite resolve as fast as you were hoping. So you can try like exponential in, which kind of looks nice. Cubic in. Also looks nice. And you can play around with different things. For now, I'll just set it back to linear. And let's also add a fade in for the audio. So let's just go over here. And again, we have fade searched for under effects. And we've selected our audio clip. And you'll notice if I zoom in, there's a little bit of silence at the beginning of my audio clip. I'm just going to go ahead and move this like, hold on. Let me zoom in a little more. Oh, it doesn't let me zoom in anymore. Oh, because that's the length of a single frame. Yeah. So if you just use the arrow keys on your keyboard without holding Alt, it advances by a single frame, which is, in this case, 1/30th of a second. So you can't zoom in any further than that. But right here, I am going to cut a part of this audio. One way you can play around with reducing the size of things is simply just to click the edge of a clip and drag, and you can shorten it or lengthen it. So there we have our music doesn't have that silence at the beginning, and we're also going to add a fade in effect by just double clicking that, and we have our fade in that's also 3 seconds long. So let's listen to the audio fade in. Very nice, very nice. Let's move my head back over here. Also, say you have this music track, but the music track is just too loud. You want it to be kind of subtle background music. Just under effects, just search for gain or volume. So volume dynamics, gain. I can just double click that to add it. And again, I'll move my head and it's just added it under the effect over here. So it has the fade in, but also has the gain. And currently the gain or the main volume of this audio track is at 100%. We can just change this slightly. I'm going to just go over, double click on the number 100% and change it to be at like 70% volume. I'm going to hit enter. And now the entire volume of the entire track is just 30% quieter. Which is nice. Now it's more like background music. But for now, I'm going to put it back. I can put it back at 100%, or I can just click the little red trash can. That's how you get rid of effects. Just go ahead to the effect and you can just trash any effect you don't like. In fact, I'm going to get rid of both effects because the fade in from black works good and I just enjoy hearing the music at full volume. Yep. That looks nice. So for the dissolve, which we've gotten rid of, that would have also shown up on the effects side, and you can remove it by also clicking the little red trash can symbol. That's another way to remove video or motion effects. Let's move my face back over to the bottom right. And then lastly, after you have your project fully edited, you can render it. So before that, I should make my audio clip shorter. So let's just go over here. This is very important. This is where this Alt arrow key thing is going to be very helpful. I'm going to use Alt arrow and make sure my cursor is at the exact end of this video clip. And that now is exactly where I want to cut the audio. Now I can hit Shift R and I can click this audio on the right hand side and just hit the delete key and end it. And here I would like to add a fade out for the music. So audio, fade out, double click that, and then I'm going to have a nice, click that effect, and a nice long fade out. And I'm going to actually add a fade out here also. Okay, so now we have a 26-second video that we can render or export. To do that, we just go to Project, go down to Render, which has a little red record symbol. The shortcut for render is Control Return or Control Enter. But I can just go here and click Render. We need to set the presets or the format. I think MP4 for online video, it's very adaptable. You can upload it anywhere. That's what I'm going to use. It's not very high definition. It's totally fine. And then everything else I'm just going to keep. Hardware encoder, all that. And then I'm going to select the file destination. It says output file, and it shows the folder on my computer it's going to go to. It says it's going to render to and save to the videos folder. I'm going to actually change this. I'm going to make it go to my desktop. So I'm going to click Save. Oh, I need a name for this. So let's call this Creepy Walk. And in media projects or media making, file management is super important. How you name files is really important. And so instead of being like Creepy Walk, final version, edit, V3 or some dumb thing, and you're always trying to come up with new names, for me personally, to keep things simple, I always add the date after the project name. So the date, I always go year, month, day. So it's always in order on my computer. So the year is 25, the month is 08, and the day is 04. And which version of it for today is going to be lowercase v and then 1. So this way I always know what I'm working with, and it's going to be saved as an MP4. Click Save. So now the output file is going to go to my desktop. It's going to have this name. It's going to be an MP4 file. And now I can click Render to File. So it is started. You can see it doing it right now. Because it's a short project, it should go relatively fast. Getting all those effects in. Okay, it looks like it is done. So I'm going to close this. I'm going to minimize this, and I'm going to find the name of my file, Creepy Walk 250804 version 1. So it has those cuts. Exactly where I want them. We got rid of the dissolve. Shows the smoldering remains of the fire, and there should be a fade out. And that's how you edit using Kdenlive. Now, there's a whole lot of other features you can learn. Believe me, this is a very, very powerful editing suite. I'm so happy that I found it. It's fantastic, and there's a lot you can do with it. But you just do some Googling, read some articles, watch some other tutorials, and you can sort of expand your knowledge in how to use this. But with this, you should be able to edit beginner video projects extremely quickly. Good luck.